right, for Zoom recording. All right, so welcome. My name is Amanda McClellan. Can you see my welcome to orchestra PowerPoint slide that I just put up there?
Yeah.
Yes.
So my bachelor's is from Shenandoah Conservatory up in Virginia, master's in string pedagogy from Florida State, and I have a specialist in administration from Lincoln Memorial. It is my 23rd year in education, and 21 of those are here. I was saying that this is the best school, and clearly it must be, because here I am after all of these years. I have no reason to leave. It's incredible. My husband and I are both professional musicians, and you can see the two of us playing together in Stranger Things, Pitch Perfect, Do Revenge, Sleepy Hollow, Vampire Diaries, and numerous Hallmark Channel movies.
And I am Sadie Glasgow. I have got my bachelor's from Georgia State University. I've been teaching for 5 years, and my experience started actually here at Hull Middle School. And then I went and took over at Mountain View High and then Mill Creek High. And now I am back because, again, Hull is the best. And let's see, I have lots of animals. I also do play gigs like Miss McClellan and make money that way, but my life is absorbed right now in all my cats and my new puppy, so.
All right. There is a family that's having trouble with the audio. If your audio is still not working, don't worry. We will post this later this evening when we're finished. We have a halftime teacher that comes in 2 days a week to help Miss Glasgow and me run class. Her name is Nasio, and she's actually been in education quite a while. It's her first year at Hull, and she speaks Korean fluently, which has been really, really helpful. And then she put a picture of her doggy on here.
And then we're lucky to have Miss Ogeson here helping us this year. She is, again, this says it on the slide, but she's the reason we can have a successful program. Here when we have like about 500 or plus students in orchestra, a lot of students in this school are mainly in orchestra. And so she is our, what would you call it, Miss McClellan?
Clerk. She's our clerk.
She's our orchestra clerk. And so she's also went to Georgia State, go Panthers. But this is her first year at Hull. She was a teacher for elementary over at Parsons, and now she came over to help us. So she's amazing. And you'll probably get things from her communication maybe, and you'll see her around for sure.
Yes, you will definitely be getting some communication from her. Things are starting a little slowly right now. Our whole front office staff and orchestra staff, like big turnover this year. But most of the parent communication will be from Miss Okeson. You feel free to always contact Miss Glasgow or myself, but Miss Okeson kind of deals with all administrative stuff for us. So money, orders, that kind of stuff. All right. Hull Orchestra, you have now joined one of the best orchestras. We won the Exemplary Performance Award for 2011 and 2019. It's awarded to one performing ensemble in the state, and we won it twice. Last year we got the Jackson EMC grant. I'm gonna show you our pretty cover. So I wrote a grant to get tuners for all of the orchestra classes. We consistently have the second largest number of students attending the county and state honor orchestras, and we have received the highest ranking possible at our large group performance evaluation since 2006.
So what is Connections? I think in elementary school, students might have specials where they go to art and things like that. But Connections meet every single day. Your students have third and fourth period Connections. We have half the time they spend their Connections time in 6A class, which could be a different class or orchestra, or they could be in the 6B where that's where their orchestra class is. So one of the two is where their orchestra connections is. The times are posted on the slide, so you can see those. Those times are specifically from Monday, Thursday, and Friday, because on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, because on Wednesday and Thursday we have block schedule, which means Wednesday we only see 6A and Thursday we only see 6B. So that gives us a longer amount of time with each section, and it really works to our advantage. So this is a graded subject. This does count towards GPA. Coming from high school, yes, it does count towards your GPA. Colleges do see this, especially through middle school through high school, and it's very shiny, a very shiny thing to have on your transcripts. So your students are already doing the right things, adding the right things for a good future. So let's see. Oh, we have no makeups. So Ms. McClellan, do you want to expand on this?
Yeah, since it's a skill-based class and it's mostly physical aspects, there's no way to make up a class that's missed, truly. So we ask, if possible, to try to schedule doctor's appointments outside of orchestra time, just because it's much more difficult. It's not a worksheet you can do. You missed the instruction, you missed me moving your arm and your body, so that time's gone. You can usually catch up, but there's no way to make it up. Okay, now this is a PowerPoint I will give you at the end, so I'm not going to go through all of these slides in here, just some interesting stuff. We say that orchestra is the best and brightest. That is what we call ourselves. Everyone in our orchestra family, we're the best and brightest, and we live up to those standards. They're just some really interesting facts about orchestra. And this is my favorite. 66% of music majors who apply to medical school are admitted. That's actually more than people applying with pre-med and microbiology degrees. And we have a career day here at Home Middle School, and there's like law firms that come and talk to the kids, and there's like the school pharmacy, PCOM comes and talks, and they say that they always accept music students. The law firm specifically reaches out for people who have music backgrounds because it's probably a well-rounded person. So all of these big universities, they're looking for it. There's only 20% of schools in our country have orchestra. That's a really small percentage that have the opportunity to learn these instruments. So when you're applying to places across the country, and you have orchestra on your transcript, it stands out. It is a really big deal. And again, even people that have music majors in college, they can go on to law and medicine. You do not need to have the traditional bachelor's degrees. So I just like these slides. You can go read the rest of it later. All right.
So orchestra, we have, as you may have heard if you were here in the very beginning of our meeting, we have violin, the viola, the cello, and the bass. These are your 4 options for your students to choose to play, to learn. They'll pick one, and then that one will carry them throughout high school. So this is that one time where they get to actually feel what connects with them, take that decision. So violin and viola students will have their instruments, and they'll have it rented, and we'll talk about that later, and they'll carry it from home to school, take it home on the weekends, hopefully after school every day to practice. Not in the beginning though, but then we'll also have a little spot for them to put their instrument in the mornings to come by, and then put their instrument in a little parking spot, and then get it out during class and things like that. Cellists and bassists will have the opportunity to play a classroom instrument. Because of Gwinnett County Public Schools, they already went ahead and bought instruments for us to have in class. We have a fee for that, which I think we'll discuss later as well. But that allows the student not to have to carry it to and from, which is really nice. But then we do encourage you to have a cello or bass at home, so that the student doesn't have to carry or ask for a cello to go home from school. So that's a little more complicated. And so most cellists and bassists will have their personal instrument at home and then play one in class.
So say, Ms. Glasgow is coming from high school where a lot of the kids are dedicated and they have those instruments at home. We do not expect the cellists and basses to have a cello or bass at home. If your child is into it and loves it, absolutely have a cello or bass at your house. Otherwise, the way we've structured our curriculum here at the middle school level is we will have everything done in class. So everyone can be successful and have an A with what we do in class together. If your child wants to excel past and join some of our honor orchestras, or they just get really into it, then we definitely encourage having that instrument at home so that you can take private lessons and all that fun stuff. But
Absolutely.
yeah,
Thanks for
there
clarifying.
are so many things that your students are into. You have tutoring and we have sports after school. So even the violins and violas, we have a storage room and Miss Glasgow and I lock our doors at the end of the day. If you're comfortable with it, the violins and violas can live in there for the week and then they can just take them home like on Friday. They are much more portable. They can take them home every day if they want, but we have structured the curriculum so that everything will happen here. That way it's easier for them. And then, oh, let me get out of this presentation sharing because I want to show you where you can find some of this stuff. So a lot of the information, where is my mouse? Okay, a lot of this information can be found on Google Classroom. So if you go into my Google Classroom, can you see it? It's still sharing, right? Let's see this, okay. Here's my Google Classroom. If you go into classwork, this is where I stick everything. Our handbooks in here, the calendar, there's some audition stuff. These are for like our 6th graders that have already played. This is like high school level stuff, so not for a lot of kids. Our lesson plans are always posted. If your child's sick or misses a day, they can see exactly what we did. These are live lesson plans. So if Miss Glasgow and I have to change anything, we can update it and keep it live. All their digital assignments, anything they have to turn into us, is here. Like Ms. Glasgow was saying, we have over 500 students in orchestra. So we try to stay away from paper. Most assignments we give students will be digital and will be in here. And then sound of the day, SOTD, it's just fun videos that we post for the kids every Thursday. And then they have a writing prompt about those videos. And then you can also find these things on eClass. Where did my eClass go? Here it is. Here's our eClass page. Your child can help you navigate to this. And it also includes all kinds of information that you might need. This is one of the best parts. Here's our calendar. It is a Google calendar so that you can add it to your phone. It's live. That if we do change anything, you'll be immediately updated. Or we have that like printed calendar in our Google Classroom. Okay, I kind of like the live eClass calendar. It's nice to have. We already have all of our dates. Everything is set for the entire year. It includes our parties, our concerts, our activities. Everything's in there, but we do often add things, fun things in there. All right, let me go back to our presentation. Okay, how do I make it go? All right, here we go.
Okay, so as far as instruments go, we always say this because sometimes there is a misunderstanding, but there are no girl or boy instruments. Any student can play any instrument. It doesn't matter if your student is very, very short or very, very tall, they can play anything. And then the example is Miss McClellan is shorter than I am. I'm 6 feet tall, but she might be a little less than that. Let's just say that much.
I'm 5'2".
She does play cello. we both play cello and both are successful at it. And it doesn't matter what size your student is because they can play any of them. We have different sized instruments for your student to learn on, to start learning on. So yeah, when they do go to college and things like that, viola and bass, they usually have less people play them, less people choose them, but they're amazing. And if your student really likes music and wants to play those in college, those do get more scholarships because they are more rare. let's see, use school. So cellos and basses, yes, we will use school instruments like Miss McClellan was detailing earlier. And yes, our curriculum is very centered around them being able to have it access to it all day, every day. And we learn everything in class that they would need to learn. So renting versus purchasing an instrument. Some might think that you want to purchase one immediately right now, but the point of renting, so renting is the option that we want you to choose because your student is likely not the height or the size that they will be when they get older. So it could be they could shoot up in 7th grade or 8th grade, or maybe they won't ever shoot up, but you don't know those kind of things yet. And so their hands could grow, their height could grow, and that means the instrument will also need to grow. So when you are going to get an instrument, we only encourage renting instruments to start. Most places that do sell or rent violins, they all encourage renting as well, because they can go in and you can trade it in later on when your student does grow and get bigger. So that if you do have a cello or bass at home and your student's really into it, that also applies to your at-home instruments, cello, bass, but also especially violin and violas. Those, a lot of them, I'm looking at the sizes right now, a lot of them are playing really small instruments, and I know that by 8th grade we'll probably play a bigger instrument. So please, please, please only rent.
I like this slide. It's no violin shaped objects. Buyer beware. So you can go online and go on Amazon right now and you can find a $99 violin, and it is a total piece of trash. It is basically a glorified piece of firewood. I will have to send it back to you. It is unplayable. It doesn't work. It's like buying a $99 toy. And so there's no way to be successful on it. So I get really frustrated with some of the online dealers because they make it sound great and it's not. Different colors, that is also giveaway that it is a piece of firewood. Now, you know how Netflix had that show Wednesday and she had the black cello? That is very pretty. And that was probably a $10,000 carbon fiber, nice cello. If it's not $10,000 black, please don't get it. Stick with wood colored instruments because you're less likely to get ripped off. Tuning time on these poor quality instruments takes so long that often Miss Glasgow and I will have to give the instrument back and say, I'm sorry, you have to take it to the shop. It's untunable. Like it will not stay in tune. It's not playable. And here's where the problem is. If we're talking about fixing 4 pegs, now you have a $200 repair bill. And then if the bridge isn't cut, that's another $50. If the bow is not sufficient quality, now it's another $75. Now you have $300 to make the $99 instrument work. It's just not a good deal. To give you this perspective, because the students were like mesmerized, college instruments, kids that go to college and major in music, it's between $5,000 and $20,000. Professional instruments, $10,000 to $1 million. My husband's bow is $12,000. My husband's violin is over $70,000. It's now, thankfully, when they need instruments of that quality, you won't be paying for it anymore. But I would expect a student violin to be no less than $800. I would expect a student cello to be no less than $1,500. These are expensive instruments if they work, which is why we say rent. $20 a month is way more palatable than $800 plunked down. And there are used instruments that would be less because these instruments are for children and they don't hold their value. You are not purchasing an investment. You will never, ever, ever get your money back out of these instruments, but that's okay. It's for kids. The cool thing is that some of these places, and I'm not legally allowed to tell you the names, but some music stores will give you full value of the instrument if you trade up. So if you take that $800 violin and you bring it back to them, they will give you $800 towards a nicer instrument. Like maybe your child's going into high school and they want a $2,000 violin. They'll give you the full $800 credit. And then you take that $2,000 violin, you trade it in, and then you get the $5,000 violin. That's how my husband and I have afforded all of these super expensive instruments that we have, is we keep trading them back. We're like, okay, here's your $20,000 violin. We take out another loan, we add some money to it, and we just keep boop, 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 trading up. So there are stores that will do that, but you will never be able to sell the instrument for what you paid. All right. I know some of the parents are like,
wanna
oh my
say,
God, these things are
There's a few
expensive.
questions. There's a few questions in the chat. We're not expecting you to buy an instrument right now. And those kind of purchases, of course, are only made once you take time to save. I personally had to buy my own things when I was growing up. So my parents did help me rent, when I was starting out, but eventually had to get that job, save for the cello that I wanted, and make that happen myself. So if you're getting overwhelmed by the prices we're mentioning, just a little, I guess a little asterisk. We're not asking you to do this now. And again, we're not asking you to buy an instrument now, especially not now. We want you to rent. So, and renting is much cheaper.
We just want you to understand the $99 violin, what it is, because it sounds too good to be true, and it actually is. Because if you look at how much actual instruments cost, $99 is not going to cut it. Uh-oh, I think I killed it. Now it won't go to the next one. Okay, sorry. Good. Now you can go.
Yeah. So if it's brand new or if it's used, that doesn't matter. That doesn't mean it's going to be better or worse. If it is Chinese or Europe versus European, a lot of some stores will tell you don't buy a certain kind of instrument, don't buy it because it's from this area or this region. It doesn't matter. We have a lot of technology that's progressed really far, and a lot of the instruments that we're suggesting that you rent right now, the ones that are in like the medium quality kind of range, they don't need to be specific region, or a lot of places make different kinds of instruments, and there's none that we would recommend that aren't viable. Another thing to look for is, can you return it if it's the wrong size? If it's like a one by chance and then you never hear of the store again, that might mean something not too good was bought. So you want to make sure that they're willing to work with you. And even some of the nicer violin shops or things like that will offer insurance, especially if you did buy. But sometimes kids, when you're just learning, maybe when you get to high school, but maybe now, maybe in 8th grade, if you're really serious, you want to go ahead and get the insurance for the instrument just in case you get a more expensive one.
Well, the insurance is actually, so I'm going to jump in here. So the insurance is part of your rental. So you'll be renting, and then they will say, would you like to add this $3 a month insurance? Yes, 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 yes. Please add the insurance for however $3, $4 a month, because they're 11 and they do weird stuff. There are signs everywhere around our room that say, do not put your instrument on the floor. Don't put the $1,200 thing on the floor, and they still do it. And then the sweet child that's not paying attention falls on top of it and crushes it. Or you're about to head off to school, you got the cello with you, and you're like, hey, go throw it in the trunk. And the kid puts it right behind your car, totally forgets to put it in the trunk, and you back over it. These are actual things that happen. Even just dropping one of these instruments, these are just, it's really thin wood. You drop it, head falls off. It's irreparable if certain things break. Please, please, please get the insurance. It is so worth it. It's a big deal. I have insurance on my instrument and I'm really nice to it.
Yeah, it's definitely something I didn't know that. I am from the high school realm, so I didn't know they give it to you. So I would definitely encourage you to get the little insurance extra cost, because I've seen so many instruments take a tumble, especially violas for some reason, and kids just aren't, even if they're trying to be, they just aren't as careful as you'd want them to be. So Lastly, on the slide, she's showing you on the video, if you can see Miss McClellan.
Can you see me? Maybe
your
I'll
instrument.
gonna stop. Okay.
Oh, really?
Now, no, I was just, can they see me now? If I don't share my screen or
Well,
wait,
your screen's
still
still
sharing
being
my screen.
shared. Yeah.
all right, how do I do this? Stop sharing. Can you see this thing down here, these little toony things? That's what it needs to have. If it doesn't have these tiny little fine tuners, they're not going to be very successful with it.
Those can be added. However, if it doesn't already come with that, that should be a flag to you. And I wouldn't go through the work it takes to put them on. I would find a place that'll give you one with them already on it.
So Miss Glasgow and I sized Miss Seo. All three of us sized the kids today, and we told the kids to write it down in their agenda, so they should have the size. If they didn't, it's okay. We tried to write it down too, because we know middle schoolers. But here's the thing: when you go to the store, they might say, "Let me size your child." Sure, they let them size the child. It's fine, but I don't have anything to gain financially. I'm not looking in the back room at my inventory and thinking, oh my gosh, I don't have enough half-size violins. Hey, your kid could probably play a 3/4 size violin. I have nothing to gain by changing the size. I want your child to play the size instrument that is going to be most healthy for them. They can actually injure themselves. They can injure their tendons by playing something too large. So I always err on the side of too small. And when they grow, which they will, we can always size up. So just be careful if it's a different size than mine. Inquire, do you have this size? And that may be what's actually happening. Equity, and this is where I said, like, do they have instruments you can step up to? So some stores just rent to kids. That's their thing. They have all kinds of keyboards and band instruments and orchestra instruments. And the whole idea is you rent to kids. There are other stores, and we are very fortunate to live in this area. There's other stores that have instruments from kids to professionals. Like people from the Atlanta Symphony come to their shops. So they have that range where you can trade up with your equity. All right. Some of the stores are not going to have a trade up possibility. And then is there a time limit? Do you have a special time limit to trade up? My daughter is in 10th grade and she is still playing this viola size from 6th grade, because even though she keeps getting taller, her hand is like teensy tiny. So thank goodness there's no like time limit for me to trade this thing up, because she's still on this like baby viola. One day, I keep telling her, one day he'll grow. And then this is an important word, luthier. A luthier is a orchestra instrument repair person. So if they do not have a luthier on site, that may also be like a clue that it's not really a violin shop. If they say, oh, well, we have a luthier that comes in once a week and does repairs, how long is that going to take though, when your child actually has something wrong with their instrument? Like, are we talking about someone that is sitting there in the shop, can like look at it, tell you how long the repair is going to be? Or does it have to sit there for a week until the luthier comes? So just be careful about that. Broken strings are never a luthier thing. Just buy a string, Miss Glasgow and I will put it on. All right.
All right, I'm answering some questions. Okay.
Oh, okay. You answer the questions and I'll keep going. When you walk into the store, another thing to ask is, can someone demonstrate the instrument? You don't actually need them to demonstrate the instrument. You just want to see if they know what they're doing. If it's a high school kid from the band, you're probably not going to get the kind of service where if you walk into some of these other stores and every single employee is a musician, a string musician. So just be careful. Is the price that they offer just a fall special? Is it like for a month or two and then it goes up? And then here's the thing. I am legally bound to provide you every brochure I receive. And I will provide you every brochure that I have been given. It does not mean that I endorse the ones I'm giving you, but I'm giving you the skills and the questions to find good places. I cannot recommend places to you legally. I wish I could, because I have favorites. I definitely have shops that I go to, but please use my questions and try to find some good places. Now, here's the cool thing. I have some violins and violas that the school owns. Over all these years, I've been gradually buying what I could. And I have an inventory of school-owned instruments. So what I told the students was, play the instrument you love and let me figure out the money. And that goes for y'all. If there is a financial situation happening with your family, just let me know. I will figure out an instrument for your child. Let us figure out the money part. And we want your child to have a great experience, right? The instruments at school, we try to save them. So I had a parent last year and they said, well, I want to borrow your instrument until I know my child likes it. Yes. I think all parents would want to save money like that, but I really need to save my instruments from the school for people who would not have any chance to be in this class without those instruments. So you can just email me directly and let me know that you have a special situation and I will set aside an instrument for your child. It may not be the most beautiful, but it will play and it will be a good instrument. All right. Yeah, some of you were asking in the chat, like which store do we go to? Man, I wish I could tell you. I can't legally tell you where to go. I can just give you a PowerPoint presentation that has good questions to ask. Remember, luthier, can someone demonstrate the instrument? Do you have insurance? Does my equity build towards a nicer instrument? Can I trade in my instrument on a different size for free? These are important. All right, Ms. Glasgow, do you want to do the next slide or do you want to keep doing questions?
I'm answering some questions in the chat, so I'll just keep doing that while you chug away.
Okay, so stuff we'll use for class. We're going to use Essential Elements Book 1. It is actually part of your orchestra fee. I will give your child a book. Sometimes the music stores give you one for free. So Essential Elements Book 1, you don't need to purchase it at the music store, but if they give you one for free, great. Violinists and violists, the little instruments, they need a shoulder rest. Can you guys see? Do you see my video? Can you see this? Here, I'll stop sharing again. Okay, it looks like this. It goes on the back of the instrument because it takes up the space between your chin and your shoulder. So when I have my violin on me, I have all this space right here. So the shoulder rest is really important not to injure us because it takes the pressure off all of that space. And now I can hold it without using my hands and it's comfortable. All right, I can do this for hours and not injure myself. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen again. Folding music stand. This has been on here for a long time. The funny thing is that we post all of our music on Google Classroom, and my daughter and son have gotten to the point where they just open the computer and then they practice. So they're just looking at the digital copies on, it's fine. If that's what your child wants to do, it's totally fine. So folding music stand, if your child wants to have some place for their music. We just don't want them to have it on the bed, because when you have the music down and you look down, you immediately put a lot of pressure on the back of your neck and can cause injury. So we want them to always have their head straight. So if they're looking at a computer screen, cool. And their book, it actually comes with a website where they can see the music online. So everything's online these days. But if you want a folding music stand, just get the really cheap one. The little wire one, super cheap. Cello or bass rock stop should come with a cello or bass if you rent one. And then just a cleaning cloth, like just an old t-shirt or old baby washcloth, something soft where they can wipe off the rosin, because rosin is sticky and will make their instrument ugly. We don't want that. Okay, orchestra costs. All right, they need an instrument. So violin violas are like 20 bucks a month, and like basses get more expensive. But remember, you don't actually have to have a bass at your house unless your kid just really wants it. There's a uniform. It's a long black sleeve t-shirt. It's $16. Don't worry about it yet. I'll send you order stuff in like October. There's an orchestra fee. It's $30 per year. And if you go onto our Padlet after this, there's a little place right here where it talks about the budget and talks about our expenses. I like this. I wrote this over here. So my husband charges $60 an hour for private lessons. All right. I will teach your child 105 hours, which would be $6,300. So $30 is actually 99% off. It's a really good deal. And we use that money for all kinds of stuff throughout the year. Rosin, concert fees. Miss Glasgow and I try to attend professional conferences each year just to keep up our skills. And GMEA fees, Georgia Music Educators Association. These are like competitions that we go to. We hire police officers for all of our events because there are more kids in orchestra than there are in a grade level here at Home Middle School. We have very large concerts. So just to keep us all safe in the parking lot and as you exit. So our operating costs are pretty high, but with $30 a kid, I'm able to do it without fundraising. Thank goodness. All right. So, and then if you play a school instrument, we ask that you give us $65 per year. That's actually a county fee. It doesn't have to be paid all at once. Some people pay us like $10 a month or $20 a month. And that's for the whole year for those of you that borrow the school instrument, because there's still cost involved in maintaining it. When I came back from the summer, I had $5,000 in repair bills. That was not broken stuff. That was just bows that needed to be repaired and bridges that needed to be fixed because they had warped in the classroom. So just maintenance, just to keep it up. Of course, all costs can be reduced if necessary. Ms. Glasgow, are you still doing?
I think the questions have started to wane.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll talk about this one. I love this one. Being a former high school teacher, this is not just a 1 year, 1 semester kind of commitment. When your student joins orchestra, they're essentially telling us and you that they want to be in orchestra for 7 years. So, I mean, that's a lot. But again, when I said it earlier, it looks really good on all your college applications and things like that. So the same instrument too. Some students later on could potentially learn more than one, but when we're teaching them, and especially in our middle school, it is the same instrument for 3 years. We grade with concerts. So a lot of our concerts are test grades, and they come and they play and they perform for you, and you get to see them and ooh and awe at their abilities. Our first concert is actually January 31st. So a lot of people were asking that one in the chats, and just want to let you know that is the first concert. Again, it's in the calendar. It's in the eClass calendar. It's on the Google Classroom list of dates for calendar dates. And they come and they have to wear their uniform. They have to arrive on time. The uniform is an orchestra shirt, which we'll tell you more about that in October. And then they have to wear black pants or a skirt with tights, black socks, and black shoes. This is something that will be consistent once they get into high school too. They can't wear white socks, they can't wear colored socks or different shiny kind of shoes that aren't black. So everything from basically the waist down has to be covered in black. cloth of some sort, and our orchestra shirt here in middle school is what we wear on the top. So again, we will give you more information on that, but if your student doesn't have like those black shoes, black dress shoes, that's what we would choose to have them in. If they're wearing flats and they're like a girl that's wearing flats, and they don't have socks, but they have like a level of like their skin showing, we ask again that you would cover that with some sort of like hose or cloth. So is that all, Ms. McClellan, for the slide?
Yeah. I used to say like no white soles on the shoes. And I think that was until I had to pay for a teenage boy's shoes. I swear I buy new shoes every 6 months. So just get some like dark looking shoes. As long as they're dark and not like obnoxiously weird colored laces or something, it's fine. It'll work. Yeah, these things are expensive. Yeah, black sneakers are fine. Black sneakers are fine.
Okay.
Try to keep it as
There
black
are
as
some
possible
differences.
so it doesn't stand out. You know what? I mean, it's middle school. That's like one of the things. Like, please don't make me stand out. So if you can get it black, and I told like this one kid last year had like neon orange laces. I was like, how about I just give you some black laces? Like, can you relace that thing just for the concert at least? Because that's a lot. Yeah, definitely sneakers are fine. Try not to have white soles. You know, I'm thinking like Converse kind of things, but it is what it is. Try not to spend too much money. Let's see, there were some, oh yeah, the payments. The payments will be on My Payments Plus very soon. We just hired a brand new bookkeeper. So there are no payments right now because there's nothing online. Very soon, we'll have all of our stuff on there and then I'll let you know. So it's no rush at all. All right, grades. You'll get an A. You will get an A. We want everyone to have an A. We've kind of structured it so that as long as you are trying your best, you will get an A. The people that did not get an A last year, they purposely did not turn things in. All of our written stuff is done in class. Like, you have to really want to not turn stuff in, like purposefully. I do not give homework. It's in class. And then like the tests that we do, like you have to actually tell me to my face, I'm not going to do it. And then I give you a 0, but I mean, it's really hard not to get an A. So if you see a non-A in your orchestra, you ask your kiddo, what is happening? Ms. McClellan said everyone gets an A. Yeah, they should. It's fun. It's middle school. It's try it out, enjoy yourself. It's middle school. So grade should be an A. Oh no, the concerts are definitely for everybody. We have 2 concerts in 6th grade, one in January, one in May. We use karate belts in our 6th grade class. So for each test that we have them play for us, it corresponds to a color of beautiful yarn for their bow. If they get all of the colors at the end of the year, we will give them a keychain. He's super cute. It's a little RJ keychain. And they all try to covet this little lion baby. So if you see yarn on your child's bow starting in like a month, that's what's happening. They just got their white belt and then their yellow and their orange, just like the martial arts system. And then black belt at the end. Everyone with a black belt gets a creature. If you don't get 100 on the test the first time, you can absolutely retake it. You can retake it as many times as you need to, because the whole idea is that you're learning the skill. I'm not trying to like catch them not knowing how to play something. The test tells me who doesn't have the skill yet, and then I can help them more. So I just tell them tests are really for me. They're to help me help you. And so that's why we have our assistant that comes in twice a week, that she can pull people out. We have morning practices so they can come get extra help. We want everyone to get 100 on everything, and we want them to get a lion. All right, Miss Glasgow, you want to do this one?
Yes. Okay. So actually, I have some few questions I'm answering. So you
Oh,
can take
okay,
it,
I'll do it.
Ellen.
Okay,
Yeah.
so socializing, we realize that orchestra is a family. It is a safe place for our students, and so we want to give them a lot of opportunities to do non-academic parts of orchestra. So we have a viola party coming up in October. Our cello bass party is coming up in February. We have bass breakfast, which will be announced when we get them started. Main event will be going in November, and we'll be going to Six Flags in March or April, once we get all the dates finalized with those companies. We like to socialize. Okay, now remember how I told you I have to give you all the brochures that I got? So you can click on this and it'll take you to all my brochures digitally scanned in. Tomorrow during class, I'm gonna give the students all the brochures that I have, like paper versions. I'll give them to them in class tomorrow, but you can already go ahead and look at the brochures this evening on that link. Okay, I'm gonna come out of this.
I'm
And I'm
going to
gonna
stop you real quick, Ms. McClellan. The big question that seems to be a theme, and I just want to address it real quick. So, is there a party for violin players? Every day in class is a party for violin players. So we definitely try to focus all of our attention for just like one moment on our bassists and cellists and violists, because violins, a lot of times, they get a lot of attention and they get a lot of the fun parts to play. So that's why we don't necessarily have a specific violin party. However, they are also encouraged to come to the main event and Six Flags Socials, of course. This is funny because some of the kids are a little sad about it too, but maybe in the future me and Ms. McClellan could talk about it. But again, when I say it, when I mean it, every class, every day for violinists should be a party.
In sixth grade, it makes less sense because we all play the same music. By the time they get to seventh and eighth grade, they're like, oh, I get it. I'm like, yeah, I told you. The universe balances it out. We're not leaving the violinists out. They still get several parties, but it's a thank you. Violas get a thank you. It's a larger instrument. It doesn't get as much melody. The cello and bass are big. Unwieldy at sometimes, and if you play cello and bass professionally, you get paid extra. I get cartage when I play symphony gigs, and that just is an extra $100. That's a thank you for toting that thing around and probably driving a large vehicle that can hold it. So we are trying to do that same thing. My philosophy has always been do in class what professionals do, and since professionals have a little bit of extra incentive for their viola, cello, and bass, so do we. So, but she's right. Violin's a party every day. You're welcome. You get the melody in every song we play. Okay, so let me show you this Padlet on my screen. These are all your brochures. We scanned in the brochures where we did not actually receive a digital copy. They're scanned in. This Padlet, I'm going to put our YouTube recording right there. And then I have the whole presentation we did right here. Brochures again, my budget. Here's just, I don't know, a handout, just has some more information on it. Here's my handbook, developed over 20 years. And these are just some demonstrations. This is Miss Lee, who worked here last year playing violin. This is me playing cello. Miss Penner, who was my assistant last year playing viola, and then me playing the bass. Here's some just bunch of famous string musicians in this one. So I'll give you this Padlet as well. I'm going to put it, I'm going to post it and email it out. Okay, as soon as I get that YouTube recording on here, so that you'll have access to this as well. And let's see, I got distracted by a question and then I was like, yes, used instruments are fine. Used instruments are fine. There are instruments here that have been here for 20 years. Now let's open this up to questions. So putting them in the chat is nice. And then Ms. Glasgow can answer some, like digitally typing, we can answer them speaking, but if you are set and you don't have any questions, then I thank you for coming tonight and being a part of this. I will post this video as soon as we stop the meeting. I'll put it on YouTube and I'll give you access to it. I'm going to email this out. I will post it on our eClass. I will post it on our Google Classroom, and I will post it on the Padlet that you use to get here. So the invitational Padlet that you use to get the Zoom link, I will also post links to the other Padlets. So hopefully you will have so much information, you will be comfortable.
Yeah, there's a few questions as far as like how to get to the Padlet. It definitely is in the email, but which everyone should have access to that email. And once you get to that Padlet, we'll have all the other links that you're requesting for. So.
Yep. And we'll try to start on Monday. And I say we'll like start playing. I mean, like, we're gonna learn how to get it out of the case. We're gonna learn how to put it in the storage room. It's slow. So if you don't have an instrument on Monday, it's fine. There are going to be some parents, just based on finances, that may not have an instrument until Labor Day, because they may be, August is expensive. I got two. August is super expensive. So they may be waiting until they get their paycheck at the end of August to start the rental. Totally get it. No, it will not and be a detriment to your child's learning. We'll just start nice and slow on Monday for the kids who are way into it.
I have a question. There was a $10, oh, you know what? I'm getting confused. It's not Whole. It's Peachtree Ridge. My apologies, because I have two kids, two for different schools. They have different fees. So my apologies.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm in the same boat. They can bring their instrument Monday. They can if they have it. They don't have to have it on Monday. Just when they get it, have them go ahead and bring it so we can tune it, look at it, make sure it's the right size, put tapes on it so they know where to put their little fingers.
And students don't have to have any experience. So some of you have asked if the student needs to have already played something, or they don't have any experience at all. What do we do? Just, you already done what you needed to do, is sign them up, and then we'll handle the rest. So
I have a question. If we don't get the instrument before Monday, until they get it, are they going to be practicing on the one they wanted to play? Like mine is violin.
They won't be practicing on an instrument, but it's going to go so slowly that it'll be fine. They can like look on with their stand partner if their stand partner has an instrument. It's slow. Like the first day is how to go into the storage room and get your case, and how to open it without dropping your violin on the floor, because our classes are really large. It's 50 kids minimum in the class, and so we have a system of how to take it out of the case so things don't get broken. We have like, so it goes really slow, so don't worry. If Monday doesn't work, it's fine. And then as we start, the kids are all going to be singing their parts and saying their notes out loud. So if they have an instrument, they can also do the instrument. But if they don't, they're still getting that instruction. They're still getting the basics because they are participating along with us.
Okay. I still wanted to just recap. If when they do get it, they can keep it in your storage all week, and then on Fridays bring it home.
A lot of my students do that because I have
Okay.
so many students that have like after school tutoring or sports. We have such an amazing school. Like people are so involved that we don't require them to take it home every night. Miss Glasgow and I keep our doors locked.
Good.
Now,
'Cause I'm on
it's
the way to
not a
football now.
It's not a guarantee. Like, I'm not saying that I guarantee nothing would ever happen to it. I can't do that. But I do lock it, and our storage rooms do have cameras. Unfortunately, the cameras sometimes are not very helpful because everyone's case is black. So I'm like, what's happening in this video? I'm trying to find it. But we do have cameras and we do keep them locked. I would
Yeah.
definitely label your case, and I would get some like crazy looking duct tape or some kind of weird like ribbon. I would like crazy it up so that your case looks very different. I have tags here that I put like Sharpie marker and I put their name real big and like tie it on there. But I would even like, I mean like this kind of, I would make it obvious. I would make some kind of crazy duct tape. Do we
Yeah, we
record?
recorded this.
Yeah, we recorded this.
I have a quick question about initial instructions, if that's okay.
Sure.
So particularly when the children are learning fingering, would it, I don't know how to phrase this, would it be helpful or would it be okay for the, I know that Hull has a very strict away for the day policy when it comes to cell phones, but
Mhm.
for practice at home, particularly when they're being corrected on their fingering, it might be helpful when they're practicing at home to be able to see what they were doing in class that was wrong, so that when I'm sitting next to them and I can see what they did wrong and what they were being corrected to do better next time, if I can replicate that at home. So is there a sort of like a, I guess, an exemption for being able to record it in the class so we can make sure that they're doing that right? Or like,
They don't, but I have a website that we can direct you to, and we'll
Mhm.
direct the kids there so that they can kind of see videos. Another thing is when you get that Essential Elements book, it has a code in it. You can go online with that code, and the online access comes as part of the book, and you can have all these videos. So there's lots of online tutorials that you'll have access to where you can watch what we were saying. And Miss Glasgow and I, we're gonna go slow enough in class that sometimes they don't necessarily have to practice outside of class. In fact, for the very first 6 weeks to 3 months, we'll say, don't practice at home. Like, let us watch you do it. And then we'll start encouraging them. We'll say, hey, now let's start build some endurance. Like, take what we've taught you because you're doing great at it, and go home and try to do it for 10 minutes or 5 minutes and build up that endurance. But at the beginning, we actually don't even encourage practicing at home, because that way she and I have eyes on them. We're making sure that they're okay. But yeah, I will direct you to some resources, lots of online resources that you can watch.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure. They can bring cellos home from school. We usually say Friday's a good day to bring it home. Just be a car rider on Friday afternoon. It's pretty big, so it doesn't fit on the bus. Especially with how crowded the buses are with this bus driver shortage. So we say be a car rider on Friday and then be a car rider Monday morning. And they can borrow it for the weekend.
Any more questions? And we're always available. You can always email either of us. I think it's easier for whoever student is actually in the specific homeroom or class, because we'll both see all of your students. But if you have any questions, you can email either of us. And this will be posted on eClass, and it'll be sent out via email
Yeah.
in Google Classroom.
Yeah.
In about 5 minutes, it'll be posted.
Yeah. As soon as we stop, I'm gonna upload it to my YouTube channel, and then you can have it. You can watch last year's right now. It just doesn't have the same teachers in it.
All right.
The recording will be I will post it as many places as I can think of, and then you can also look up Whole Orchestra YouTube channel, and it'll be on there too. All right, it was so nice to meet y'all tonight and get a chance to give you this information. Feel free to watch this again. Feel free to go through my PowerPoint and then just email Miss Glasgow or me any questions you have. We're very excited to have you part of our family.
Yeah, that's all. Thank you so much. Oh, is that the orchestra YouTube? Wonderful.
Oh, is that the high school PA orchestra?
Yeah. Well, we're so excited to teach your students. And again, it's a really slow process. So unless they're a complete prodigy and they're taking lessons, expect some nice sounds to happen probably in January. So they're really slow processes, but it's going to be great. They're all going to have an opportunity to get to know their instrument and really just develop their skills.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you know, you only brought up the groceries, not the school stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And wasn't there 3 bags of
All right.
All right. Well, have a great evening. Email us if you need us, and I will start uploading this to YouTube.
Yeah. Bye, y'all.
Thank you.